This interview is with Mason Hollyman. He is a cyclist from the UK. He rides for the Israel Premier Tech team, who are UCI Pro, and yeah, he's an all-round great guy. Super excited for you to hear this. Um, yeah, just tell your friends, tell your family about this, because it's a great interview. I'm really happy with how it's turned out, and hopefully, long-term watchers will see a couple of updated types of things, a bit more production value this time. So hopefully that's gone over well. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, guys, and sit back and listen and enjoy.
Hi, how are you doing? How's things going?
I'm great, thank you. Just had a day off today, so just been chilling, doing a bit of painting. Actually,
Oh, nice.
yeah, just been to the shops. Pretty
Wow.
chill day to be fair. Can't complain in the sun. Better than being in the UK to be fair at the moment. Anyway.
Yeah, because what is what does the off season really look like for you? When do you start getting back into things? When do you give your body chance to recover?
So yeah, this year was probably a few weeks later than normal. Last race of the year was in China, so that was like mid
Mm,
mid October. So I didn't really get back into proper riding until like mid November. Me and the coach normally like a proper 4 weeks really of rest, or at least not much on a bike. So I started again then, and then November's always a nice month. I always enjoy it, just getting back into a bit of riding with your mates, and then a lot of calf stops, and then you've still
mm.
got a bit more social life at that time as well. So it's yeah, I always enjoy the bit before Christmas, especially.
Yeah, of course. And speaking of China, that was a heck of a result, I believe. Was it top 10 on GC? Unless I'm misremembering.
In
Um,
yes, in Hainan. Yes, I did both
mm,
Hainan and Guangxi. No, to be honest, yeah, I was happy with that. Yeah, I was more of a domestique to be honest that week, so I was pleasantly surprised really at the result with that. Always always gets you thinking if you could have done a bit better if you was kind of for yourself, but I mean, no, I was just happy to kind of finish the season better than it started. So I can't complain
yeah,
really with that.
yeah, of course. I mean, it's a cracking result and really shows. I mean, a huge level to get like top 10 anywhere. And speaking of a top 10, like one of the ones that really stuck out on your Palmares is the Junior Tour of Wales. Like I looked at that result list, I was like, oh my God, there's so many names on this that I recognize from 2018. Like Leo Hayter was second, I want to say, or like up there. Um, and like Ben Healy was like 35th or something wild. Like right down, I did the Isle of Man tour when I was little, and like I got what 55th in the prologue or something. Like no one's looking at that result and going, "Oh yeah, he'll be a future great." But like to see Ben Healy down towards a similar level, that's like huge. Like,
Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, all those races, are always great, and I think, you know, especially now and maybe 4 or 5 years ago was just such like a high point, I'd say, for British cycling juniors, I'd say for sure. Like you look at all
mm,
those races, and then they're still going to Europe, and a lot of the guys are dominating there as well. So it just shows the level. Minus Remco in those days, we had a lot of guys who could perform like close to the best. And I think something like that's super special, because it brings us all on, and oh, it's funny now, just to look around the bunch and see like five guys who you've raced, yeah, like you said, the Tumbling Junior Tour of Wales. It's pretty cool to be honest.
yeah, especially like Corbin Strong, I think raced that as well. Like from he's a current is he current teammate? I get lost this
Yes,
time
yeah,
of year. Um, but like having a future teammate that you're racing against in that race, and he was like right down the order because is it? I guess it's a different style of racing. It's just and it's
yeah.
not always
It's funny.
indicative.
Yeah, it's funny now you say it because Well, obviously, like I didn't know Corbin in those days, so we just done that race, and then like 3-4 years later, Corbin says to me, "Oh, I did Junior Tour Wales." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And there's a photo of some crosswind over one of like I think it was on the Regos day, and there's just a photo of four of us. There's me, Ben Healy, Vernon, now teammate as well, and Corbin. So there's just us four, and it's pretty funny to see that and be like, "Oh yeah, there you were," you know.
Yeah. Does that actually help the sort of team chemistry to have that history, even though it's kind of like, yeah, it's almost funny to look back on, but does that like make it stronger where you go, oh yeah, we've raced the same, we know where we've come from?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely think it's not a bad thing, you know. It's always nice to have, you know, some kind of common interest, whether it be, you know, knocking 10 bells out of each other on some stage in Junior Tour Wales or whatever, you know. It's always nice to have, you know, something like that that you look back on and think, ah, that's half a decade ago now, but we're still in the same kind of place, you know.
Yeah. It's kind of wild as well, like just as I said, like seeing, you know, no one's writing home about Corbin's results from that race, but then he's still got to the same place as you, and you know, I guess it shows a varied path. Like when you were a junior, did you think, oh yeah, I have to do a good result here because that'll show where I should be? And does that put any pressure on juniors, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think I'd already signed with Zappies by then for the under-23, so I don't think I was overstressed for a reason of getting a result, so to speak. But I mean, to be honest, I've always, well, especially in those days, for sure I put a lot of pressure on myself to get results, but I don't think that was really because I felt as such that I needed it. It was more in terms of I feel like it's possible for me to pull off a good result here, you know. So I kind of I don't want to disappoint myself, you know, for that reason. And I mean, to be honest, I'd say for sure there was less stress in the juniors then than there are now. You know, I hear from some juniors now that if they're not signing like contracts for these 4 years time, then they're already getting stressed. And I just hear that, and I'm like, oh, so glad, so glad to be honest. I say in my time it was not long ago, but
Yeah.
I wasn't in that place.
Yeah, because obviously you mentioned Remco and he made that jump straight from junior to World Tour. Whereas you said you joined Zappies and did the U23 for a bit. I know you got some great results doing like Valle d'Aosta and the next gen Giro. Um, was it ever an option to go straight from junior to pro, or did you always go, oh no, I'll stay developing in the 23s for a bit?
Yeah, I mean, for me, to be honest with you, yeah, not even a question to go pro at that age. I think you would have had to do something pretty special in those days, you know, Remco, for example, to just skip like that. And to be honest, I wouldn't have really wanted to, you know. I still felt like a kid in those days, and you know, the thought of me just being in a team full of my idols, that would have been pretty special. But at the same time, it's like I feel like I would have just looked and been like, oh, it's just all dads around here, you know. I'm just sat on a table full of my dads at the dinner table or something.
Yeah, yeah, I guess especially certainly like some teams have a higher age profile, you know, and that changes perspectives, I guess, and the blend of the team. But yeah, like I guess one question I have similar to that is like, at what point did you think, oh yeah, this can be my career? Like, was it always a dream? And then like, yeah, what time or what point did it go, oh no, this is actually a reality. I can do this, and it's not just this pipe dream that, you know, young Mason has.
Yeah, good question. Well, funny story about the dream. It has always been my dream because it was funny. I was just in the pub actually with an old school friend around Christmas time, and he was just saying like it was how funny it was. Everyone had these whatever dreams of being an astronaut, when they were a kid and at school. And he said it's funny that for me it was always just to be a cyclist and I think that's pretty cool to look back and say, like that was my childhood dream and that happened in that sense. But as a kid, I guess you always just see it as, these guys are just aliens or whatever. These guys that they're up there. I'd say in juniors, then I mean my improvement from youth to juniors was pretty rapid, I'd say. Youth, I'd say not many people would have said in youth that I was going to be up there. I wouldn't say in juniors, and then I was just once I developed a bit into the juniors, I took a big leap. I think so. From there, I think the belief was always there. Obviously things have got to go right, and you've got to make the right decisions. I think also luck's always a big thing, but I think I always some part I think believed from around junior time.
Yeah. And you mentioned like having to make the right decision, or certainly trying to make the best decision you can. Are there any decisions you made in your career so far that you'd change, or are you kind of regret free so far?
Yeah, I mean, I like to be honest, I like to live my life, like not looking back and wishing I've made another decision. And I'm not saying I always do that, but I like to try and at least go by that kind of philosophy, like just to, because for sure, probably I wouldn't be sat in this exact position I am now if I'd made a few different decisions, whether I'd be in a better place or a worse place. It's hard to say, isn't it? But
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I look back now and I'm where I want to be, and also I had 4 years with a lot of fun in the under 23s as well, so that's I think I can only be happy with that, really.
Yeah, of course. And I guess, how do you see yourself? Obviously, you said like you were domestiquing in China, and I believe for a lot of this year. Do you see yourself as a kind of long-term domestique, or do you think, you could ride for GC? Like, where do you see your ceiling almost?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it's one of those. I mean, I'm still reasonably young, I'd say. So, well, I mean, I'd love to win at least some races, That's obviously always a dream, but it is also nice to do your bit for a rider in big races as well. So, I mean, this year for me was a bit of a weird one. We've been off it for such a large chunk of the year, so by the time I'd got going well again, it was more of a case of proving I was at the level they hoped I'd be at, and then trying to give me opportunities where they could. Sorry, for example. So I think for sure, hopefully, next year in a few slightly lower level races, I'd like to go for maybe see where I'm in the GC, but also I do find it fun just stage hunting as well. So whichever way the wind blows me, really, to see how the legs are. I mean, I'm not naive really to look at what these guys are doing, Pogacar and these guys, they're an incredible level. So it'd take time to see if you could ever be somewhere close to these guys, but the dream's always there, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of weird as well, because you mentioned earlier about, seeing some people as being almost aliens. Like, if you went junior to pro, and like everyone's this kind of different breed. But actually, like, we're all human. We've all come from similar backgrounds in some ways. Does that still happen though? That you're looking at other riders, you're like, they're just that level that you know is never going to be achievable, even though it probably is. It's just things falling the right way.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I like to to be honest, I'd probably like to be a bit naive to it, just to not quite realize how good these guys are. But I mean, obviously there's something special, and at the end of the day, I think the talents in cycling now, they're only going to get bigger and more of them, because the pool of talent, I think, is just getting bigger and bigger as it becomes like more people in the sport, more inclusive sport, I guess. So I think there's going to be more talents, and that's just going to make it more difficult. But it pushes us on as well, and it's hard. I guess now it's just a case of finding out how high I can push my own ceiling, really.
Yeah, of course. And I guess speaking of added diversity and certainly people pushing you further and harder, do new signings, because you're quite established at IPT now. Do you see these new people coming in and going, "Oh, great, these are different people, a chance to learn new things from them and teach them new things," or yeah, just how do you see it? Because for me, the transfer season is always I'll watch a tour down under and be like, "Oh, they ride for Groupama now, okay." I'll just be so lost for months, and I'll just about get my head around it by the tour, and then there's the Vuelta and then the off season again.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? I think for sure. I think our team, we made quite a lot of new signings this year. I think it was about 10 new riders, I think, this year. But no, like you say, there's always going to be those riders, like Woodsy, Froome, and our team who I'm always going to look up to, and I guess try and see what they do or what I could do better here and there. But yeah, of course, like you say, when there's a new rider, especially if there was a new rider who was maybe a similar style of rider to you, but he was a bit better, then you'd always be intrigued as to, what does he do a bit different to me? I always approach different races or the season itself, so for me it's always interesting, really.
Yeah. And I guess speaking of how you approach things each year, what goals have you set yourself for the season, and how does that match to your, I guess, how do you even go about setting these plans? Is it stuff that you're like, "Oh, I really want to be great in May and then hopefully get picked for the Giro," or do you have to collaborate with the DSs and decide between everyone, what are your goals going to be?
Yes, I think the way we've done it this year is kind of they've looked at the riders, and then there's maybe like an ideal plan or an ideal race everyone has in their head or races. So yeah, for me, mine was I'd love to do the Giro this year. So of course, for me to do that, a lot of riders want to do it as well. So I've got to go well in Catalonia, for example. In May, and maybe not specifically for myself, but in terms of do a good job for the team, So, so for me, just to prove myself in a race like that, or even earlier, then it gives the team a feel of he can perform as we'd like in the Giro, So it's kind of built around, I'd say, the rider, also what's good for the team. Obviously some riders are going to be better for different things. You're not going to send one of the sprinters to be in the mountains training in the Giro, for example. So yeah, I guess a mix, really.
Yeah, I guess part of it's down to parkour, isn't it? And part of it's I guess team decisions, isn't it? But yeah, hopefully you can show your skills out at Catalunya or any other race that happens before the Giro and get selected. I guess that's your main goal. Is there anything else that you're looking forward to this season?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Catalonia would be nice. Just racing on I guess you can call them home roads now. So that'd be pretty cool just to race on roads that I train on. Yeah, other than that, I guess really my season would depend a lot on if I do the Giro or not, because my calendar would change a lot if not. But yeah, there's some nice 1 week races, in summer as well. So maybe those, and then also I enjoyed like Czech Tour this year was my first race back for a while. So I got a lot of confidence from that last year. So I mean, if it was on my plan, I'd love to go back there and go a few places higher. I think it's a pretty nice race. It's good race for the climbers, and yeah, quite enjoyed it this year.
Yeah, you mentioned like regaining your confidence there. Like, what was it that you were, I guess, feeling unconfident about? Was it because, I've never been pro, I've never been injured for a significant time or had a long time off. Was it a case of just feeling comfortable in the bunch, or was it feeling competitive that you were kind of worried about?
Well, so I struggled a lot with my allergies at the start of last year.
Okay.
But I didn't know for a long time that it was that. Well, for a while I think we just thought it was just me getting sick. But then there was a few races when I didn't really feel sick, but then there was so it was a bit of a confusing one, but it just basically just the first 3-4 months of the year when I didn't have any answers. I just did a few races and I just couldn't believe how bad I felt in these races. It wasn't. I mean, to be honest, for sure, I knew something was wrong. Like, I, I wasn't. I wasn't exactly. It's not like I'm saying I was doing PB numbers and going out the back after 50k. I was definitely far off where I should have been really. But yeah, I mean, once we got an answer, it was more just a case of getting confidence that I was fixed, I guess, in that sense. One side, because it was always a stress, in your first year as a pro, and that kind of thing happens. It's always stressful because at the end of the day, you've got a 2-year contract, and you don't just want to lose 1 year before you know it. So, for me, I was just really glad just to go there and perform pretty well, and I guess just be going in the right direction again.
Oh, got you. Well, I certainly look forward to seeing how you keep going in that right direction this year. How can people keep up with you in terms of following you on socials, so they know what you're doing and what races you're getting up to?
Probably sending a pigeon would be a good bet. I'm no, I'm not so good on the old social media, to be honest. But yeah, Instagram I post now and again on there. Twitter, I think normally I'd just retweet if I'm doing a race, and the team's always great with their posting of races on whether it be online or Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. So yeah, they're probably a pretty good bet.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Bro, that'll be like the proper end. Let me just click stop.
Thanks for watching. If you're still here by now, well done, you've made it through. I hope you enjoyed the chat. You should see some credits, they're not very long, but as always, a huge thanks to Lena for her help. To be honest, she helps keep these on track and has helped this time with a lot of picture research and additional help. So huge thanks to her, and yeah, hope to bring some more interviews to you in the future.